PS4 console, out 20th of March 2015. It'll be on the Xbox 360, Xbox One, PC and PS3 as well, so it's complete multi-platform. Graphics look stunning, even Paul the Wheelie when he started off. It's online multiplayer capability. So racing against colleagues, friends, or indeed enemies from all over the globe is going to be fantastic fun. The handling dynamics look pretty slick actually. What it hasn't got, like the old games, is when you try and turn it just flips about really quickly, like you're in no control whatsoever. This one seems to have like a steering damper, so your efforts are much smoother, they're weighted into the corners. There he is, getting a knee down, taking it a bit wide, missing the apex. Oh! Perhaps a bit of paintwork scratching there. I don't think this bloke's going to set any lap time records, but I've seen enough to make this a game I'm definitely putting on my to-do list. It's pretty awesome. Maybe we can have events at whichbike.com. Look out for an announcement. This is Aid from whichbike.com, online motorcycling portal. At the present, I'm with Geraint Evans from Ride, the new bike for the PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One and PC. So it's a multi-platform game. And from brief looks myself, it looks like they've got dynamics spot on. It's none of this wobbly backwards and forwards, left and right that you used to get on older games. This one's got, as if the bike's got a steering damper, and it's kind of a weighted, measured feeling to the bends, which is really what this game's going to be all about. So Jed, if you want to tell us a bit more about your game.
So our game's called Ride. It's going to be releasing on the 20th of March.
Yep.
And really it's the culmination of Milestone Racing Studio, who are based out in Italy. And
right.
A lot of your viewers might be familiar with the team that's been responsible for games like the MotoGP and the SPK series in the past.
Right.
They've been making bike games for almost a decade now. And Ride really is their sort of first brand new IP, so rather than being associated with a license like MotoGP, it's a game that they've developed from scratch, and all of their kind of know-how in terms of physics and handling is all kind of coming together in this game. And one thing that we've seen a lot over the years is people asking us, you know, when you're going to start making a game that's got proper road bikes in it, bikes that people have owned in the past or aspire to ride in the future. And there used to be a game called Tourist Trophy, which was probably going back about 15 years ago now, and there hasn't been anything like it since. So Milestone went around all the major manufacturers and you know, asked whether or not they wanted to be involved in a project like this. And because of the strength of what they did on MotoGP and other games in the past, they built good relationships with those manufacturers. So everybody wanted to come on board, and it all happened really, really quickly. And so over the last 8 months or so, they've been putting together the game, and we've got Ride, which will be out in about 5 weeks' time. So
have you got all the major motorcycle marques in this game?
Yes, the only kind of major ones people might find are missing are Norton and Harley Davidson.
Right.
But all the major ones are Kawasaki, Honda, BMW, Yamaha, Ducati. All the major ones are in there. But there's also some more niche ones as well. So there's Energica, the electric bike manufacturer, in there, for example. So we really want to try and get as comprehensive a collection of bikes and manufacturers. So there's 14 manufacturers, and there's over 100 bikes, 114 bikes I think is the latest count.
How do they manage to dial in the dynamics for each particular bike?
A lot of close collaboration with every single manufacturer. So they supply schematics, they supply loads and loads of photographs, so they can get the detail of the bikes just right. What I can do is I can jump into the game and move the camera around so you can see just the level of detail they've got in there. We're also working with a lot of the major part manufacturers as well, so you can change suspension, brakes, handlebars, all kinds of stuff. You've got to see the changes that you're making in the garage.
And these changes, is there enough differentiation for someone to be able to spot the difference it makes?
Yes, I think when you first start the game, you start the game with all of the riding assist, brake assist, all that kind of like dual brakes will be sort of set to the easiest possible.
Oh right, so like a typical road rider would do. They start off.
Yes, it starts off quite easy.
Gently.
But I think if you're an advanced player, when you pick up the game, first of all, you'll know, okay, this is a little bit too simple.
So it's a learning curve, just like a real motorbike.
Yes, exactly. So you can start turning all the riding assists off. So once you've got it in like realistic physics, realistic handling, all of the riding assists off, you'll be able to detect the depth to the changes in the handling when you start going, well, okay, I want to change my brakes, I want to change my suspension, make it a little bit harder, a little bit softer. You'll be able to feel that in the handling itself. But that's as you kind of get better and better and better, and you you make the conscious decision, I'm gonna take these assists off and make it as realistic as possible. So if you're a total novice, you've got to pick up and play it. But if you're like a seasoned veteran of bike games like Tourist Trophy or like the MotoGP series, you can then start making that game more realistic and more challenging for yourself.
Yeah, what about orally, sound-wise? Can you buy aftermarket stock exhausts for the bikes, which then changes the power parameters and the sound of the bike?
Yeah, so the change that you make to the bike will change the sound a little bit. Again, Marston have been around to all the manufacturers and they've recorded the sound directly from the machines themselves to make it as realistic as possible. So it's something that, as a company, we're always trying to develop, because of course you can record the sound of the bike actually at the manufacturers, but when it comes to the TV, it's always going to sound a little bit different, and it's quite a challenging thing to do to get that sound just right. But as I said, Marston have been making bike game after bike game after bike game, and that technology is improving all the time. So we're hoping that when people jump in, they'll feel a little bit more comfortable with the kind of sound that they're getting out of their TV matches their experience of the bike in real life. As I said, it's a very difficult thing to balance and get right, but we're getting better all the time. So.
What's the PEGI rating on this game, by the way?
It's a 3. So
it's absolutely fine.
Yeah,
so there's no horrific fascism, blood and gore, limbs flying off everywhere.
There's physics in the game, so if you ram a wall at 200 miles an hour,
so let's have a look at the start here. I assume with the power dynamics, when you're onto a super sports bike, that actually you're going to get wheelies from the start.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're revving it right from the start, you are going to. And if you do too much on the pro physics and pro handling models, the bike will just come out from underneath you.
Oh right, so you've got different gradients of difficulty. So people who want to master the game will progress up the bikes. They'll progress up the things that they switch off. So they've got almost like a race bike.
Yes. You can have dual brakes. You can control the separate brakes yourself if you want to. When you start off, it's not necessarily in there, but you can turn that off to enable it. So what you find is on the easiest settings, you can just ramp the bike really, really, really hard, and you won't come off.
Yeah.
Whereas if you turn too quickly and accelerate too quickly and won't go on the harder difficult settings, the bike's just going to come out from underneath you.
Yeah, so if people jump on, pick the fastest bike straight away, they're going to come in all sorts of difficulties.
Yeah.
So they've got to understand, you take it easy like you would do on a real motorbike, and you get to grips with the game, and then just develop from there. So it's a bit of a learning curve, which actually is quite exciting. So it gives you longevity on the game.
Yes, exactly. So when you jump in and you're not so good at it, you can enjoy yourself straight away. But what we wanted to have is a game that the more and more you play it, you can keep making the game challenging for yourself. So when you've got all of the settings off to the most realistic physics and handling possible, like to get a first place position is pretty tough going. You have to concentrate really hard and make sure you're taking the corners correctly. You're not too aggressive on the throttle, and hopefully it's a game that people will be able to play for a very long time and feel that they're always learning and always perfecting their skills.
What about personal abilities to change the look of the rider and the bike itself? Is there paint schemes and liveries for the actual levers?
And they're all based on well-known brands. So for like Alpine Star, for example.
Oh, really? Excellent.
So you can. So they're all real life. Leathers and boots and helmets, so you can.
So it really is as real as it can be. And are the roads that they are racing on, are these taken from real roads as well?
Yes, they are. So we've got places like Sierra Nevada, we've got North Wales, for example, which a lot of people.
Oh, lots of hills. Yeah, brilliant.
Donington Park's in there. Studio Pass, like the Italian kind of side of the Alps. French Riviera, Miami. You can race around Miami. You can race around Milan. Imola circuit is in there, Magny-Cours in France. So you've got like a real mix of sort of classic historic tracks, also sort of stretches of road that people might want to ride, but have never had the opportunity to do that. So yeah, there's a great mix of.
From my point of view, interesting to see just how well this game does from launch. Because the motorcycling games, as you said, haven't really been around much. Have been dominated by off-roading, rallying, motorsport sort of, or F1 sort of games. This is a very interesting niche. I think the fact that it's so different, hopefully, will translate into sales beyond your expectations.
Yes, I hope so. I think it's so many fans have asked for this kind of game. As I said, that there hasn't been this much attention paid to the major bike manufacturers and haven't been able to get their models into the game. And obviously, MotoGP's been going for a long time, but they're sort of well-known tracks and it doesn't have that sort of approachability. You can't ride a bike that you can go and buy from your local dealership and try it out. Now you finally that's something that you can do.
I think it's a great way to get youngsters into the world of biking. So it starts sowing the seed in their minds that maybe later on they want to become a motorbiker. So I think it's great for all of us who love motorcycling. Pre-orders, how have they gone?
Yeah, very well so far. As I said, you know, there's lots of hardcore fans out there that have been asking for this kind of product for a long time, and finally people are starting to become a bit more aware of it. This is the first time actually the public have managed to get their hands on the game, so outside of the...
Yeah, this is the official world launch, isn't it?
Yes,
or UK
yes,
launch?
Yeah, it is. Well, world launch. This is the first time consumers have had the chance to actually get their hands on it, and the feedback's been really, really positive. So I'm hoping people will enjoy what they see. In the version we've got today, it's just Yamaha bikes. We've got a small selection of tracks.
But we are on the Yamaha stand, to be fair.
But the response has been really, really positive. We're really pleased. And it's always a nerve-wracking time when you show something to the public for the first time, and you know, people who love their bikes are very opinionated about how things feel and how things sound. But so far, so good.
Okay, well that's brilliant. I wish you every success with the game.
Thank you very much.
I think it will do very well. I think there's two massive markets. It's the usual market, teenagers up to 30s, 40-year-olds just want to play a game that's full of adrenaline.
Yeah.
There's nothing more adrenaline giving than motorbiking. And then you've got the other people like me, who've got to buy this game because we're already motorbikers and we're desperate to get our own bike, thrash the nuts off it on the road, whereas you can't really do it in real life.
Exactly.
So the first thing I can do is go on there, find my own motorbike, make sure it's exactly the same colour and the levers match, and I'm away. I'm in my own little world.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the game. You see the detail on the bikes there is, you know, they put in great pains to try and be as authentic as possible.
It's perfect for a wet day.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that, you know, if the reaction is really, really good, then, you know, hopefully this is something that we can develop on a yearly basis, or, you know...
Yeah, so you're expecting there to be an ongoing release of DLC?
Yeah, it would be great. Yeah, absolutely. No,
you're seeing, what, new bikes, liveries and tracks?
Yeah, for example, so the DLC that we've got at the moment, we're looking at classic Yamaha models and obviously the 2015 Yamaha models like the R1, which you can, if you pre-order from game, you'll be able to pick those up.
Oh, right, fantastic.
And then ideally, you know, as the popularity improves, we can look at releasing new bikes and releasing new tracks.
Just have a look at the view again.
It's a real labour of love, you know. The team at Milestone who are developing the game, you know, a lot of them are obviously really into their bikes because they've been making bike games for a really long time now.
There's actually one other question. I can see the reason why you went down this avenue, but why did you move away from typical Grand Prix tracks with Grand Prix bikes and named superstars?
Because I think we knew that the demand was out there for a game like this.
Right.
You know, the MotoGP games are great, and obviously they're really authentic and they're really detailed, and they're as close to that sport as the technology will allow. And obviously, again, that's improving all the time. But I think for your kind of everyday biker, you know, you're not going to ride a MotoGP bike, and a lot of people are very keen to be able to ride the bikes that they own in real life. Or you know,
I agree.
Maybe somebody wants to ride a Ducati Panigale, and they can do that in this game.
And this is about realism.
Yes, exactly.
This will really engage the public because they can get on that bike and go and ride it on the road.
Yeah.
In fact, even the same road as they wanted to.
And I think there's a lot to be said. You know, some of the classic MotoGP tracks like Silverstone, whatever, or Donington Park are great, but you know, I don't think you can really beat having a more realistic stretch of road ahead of you rather than a track that you know really, really well.
I don't suppose you've got the TT roads on here, have you?
It's not in the game that you buy, no.
Because yeah, well, after all, road racing is, I think personally, the epitome of racing anyway. There's no argument that TT race is the greatest motorcycle in the world.
No, I think,
above and beyond any Grand Prix racing bike.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Oh, I appreciate your time, Joe, and all the success with your product.
Thank you very much indeed.
I will personally be getting this. In fact, I'll be ordering it as soon as I get back home.
Excellent.
Brilliant, Mark. Thank you very much indeed.
Cheers.